Hello everyone, and welcome to Metagame Mastery. We are doing another live deck today, this time featuring Ruric Thar, the Unbowed. We're building the deck. If you're catching this on YouTube after the fact, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you're looking to pick up some Masters 25, which is why we are featuring Ruric Thar, the Unbowed today, you can go ahead and check out the description below. We will have an affiliate link to our Amazon store, and any purchases made there, a small percentage comes back to help out the channel. Without further ado, big time! Go time! Let's go! So, Ruric Thar, the Unbowed, is 6 CMC, 4 colorless, and a red-green for a 6/6 legendary ogre warrior. He has Vigilance Reach, and he has to attack each turn if able. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, Ruric Thar deals 6 damage to that player. Super powerful, a little bit of a drawback, but very he does a lot for a very fair mana cost. What we're looking to do with this deck is we're looking to be very disruptive, and we're also looking to build around Ruric Thar's ability so that it's most effective, or it does the most damage to our opponents rather than really affecting us at all. This strategy is particularly potent in metas where combo decks are really prevalent. This really discourages people playing multiple spells at the same turn, or artifacts, any non-creature spells. It really forces our opponents to play our game, and that's what we're looking to do here. So we're building a disruption deck, and I have many copies of Ruric Thar. He's not expensive. So I'm going to leave him in the background here while we look at some different cards. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go over some cards for the deck, talk about why I'm considering them, what synergies they'll offer, and what they really contribute to the overall strategy. And then we're going to take a look at, we're going to sort them into specific categories, because when you build an EDH deck, there's a certain template you want to follow. You want to have approximately 38 to 40 land cards based off of your mana curve. And then you want to have about 10 mana ramp spells, stuff that helps you get your big spells out faster, because you don't want to get left in the dust. And then you're going to want to have about 10 card draw cards. You're going to want to have about 10 removal cards. And lastly, you're going to have about 30 cards left to sort of flesh out your strategy, really build around your win condition. So the challenge with this deck is to do all those things that you would normally do with a regular EDH deck, but with creatures, and not sacrifice having the overall deck versatility. So let's see what we got here. First card I'm looking at putting in the deck is Maze of Ith. Classic card. It's just a land. You can tap it to untap target attacking creature, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and dealt by that creature this turn. So the idea, of course, is to put this in here not just as a great defensive play, but it's something we can put in play, can't be countered, and if Ruric Thar has no choice but to put himself in harm's way, Maze of Ith can get him right back out of it. Leave that there. And of course I dropped the Maze of Ith. Sorry. Okay, so we'll put this in the 30 cards for the main kill condition. Next up, Sentinel Hierophants is 4 CMC, 3 colorless and a green for a 3/2 druid. Each creature you control gains tap, add 1 green mana to your mana pool. So this guy is really good. He's a lot like Cryptolith, right? Only he costs twice as much and is more fragile. But in this deck, we're going to be playing a ton of creatures. So being able to turn those creatures into mana dorks, it's going to be huge mana ramp. And because it's not an enchantment like Cryptolith Right is, that's kind of a mouthful, sorry. It won't trigger Ruric Thar's ability on us. The goal is to really pressure our opponents, make it so that they can't afford to take 6 damage every time they play a non-creature card. We'll make this pile mana ramp. Next up, we have Xenagos the Reveler. Now, Xenagos is a Planeswalker, so we have to be very judicious about whether or not we're going to put this in the deck. He is 4 CMC, 2 colorless, red, green, for a Planeswalker that has 3 starting loyalty, has a +1 ability. Add X mana to your mana pool, that's any combination of red and green equal to the number of creatures you control. He also has a 0 ability. Put a 2/2 red-green Satyr creature token onto the battlefield, and his -6 is exile up to 7 cards. Exile the top 7 cards off your library. You may put any number of creature and or land cards from among them onto the battlefield. So, straight advantage, we're going to be doing all creatures all the time. This guy's going to get us a ton of mana ramp. He can help us increase our board state in a pinch, but that ultimate will always be relevance. That's a very good payoff for us in this deck. Of course, if we're going to be playing creatures all the time, we may as well pressure our opponent's life total with Perforos, God of the Forge. He's 4 CMC, 3 colorless, and a red for a 6/5 legendary enchantment creature god. He is indestructible, and as long as our devotion is less than 5 red, he's just an enchantment. But every time creature enters the battlefield under our control, then we can have him do 2 damage to each opponent. And of course, we can pay 2 colorless and red. Creatures we control get +1, +0 until end of turn. So I'm not even worried about getting the devotion. Most of our creatures will be green. So what this guy's really in the deck for is just to really pressure our opponent's life total. As we play every single card, we can shock our opponents. Put that in the main strategy pile. Also synergizing with all the creatures we're going to be playing is Champion of Lambholes. She is 3 CMC, 1 colorless, green, for a 1/1 human warrior. Creatures with power less than Champion of Lambholes power can't block creatures you control. And whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of Lambhole. So obviously our goal is to pump Champion of Lambhole up and make it so that all the creatures we're playing for their utility abilities are actually super powerful attackers as well, just smashing in unblockable and really pressuring our opponent's life total. Okay. And our first removal spell is, we're going to be running lots of creature-based removal in this, is board wipe for our opponent's non-creature permanents. It's Bane of Progress, 6 CMC, 4 colorless, green, for a 2/2 creature elemental. When he enters the battlefield, you destroy all artifacts and enchantments, put a +1/+1 counter on Bane of Progress for each permanent destroyed this way. So he's awesome. He's a board wipe for everything that we're not playing anyways, and he's a massive creature when you time it right. Just a very versatile card. Make this pile over here our removal spells. And then my favorite card from Conspiracy 2 is Selvala, Heart of the Wilds. She's 3 CMC, 1 colorless, green, for a 2/3 legendary Elf Scout. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. So basically, when whenever any player, this affects your opponents too, plays what's now the biggest creature on the board, they get a card draw off of it. What we're really playing her for is pay 1 green and tap her at X mana of any combination of colors to your mana pool, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So, worst case scenario, you pay 1 green and she taps for 2, because she has 2 power herself. But if you have something big, like say Ruric Thar in play, then she taps for 6. And that's just really, really powerful mana ramp. Here's one of Ruric Thar's best friends, Unbowed Locus of Rage. He's 7 CMC, so you can play him the turn after Ruric comes into play. He's costs 3 colorless, red, red, green, green. He's a 5/5 legendary elemental with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 5/5 red-green elemental creature token onto the battlefield, and whenever Unbowed Locus of Rage or another elemental you control dies, he deals 3 damage to target creature or player. So he turns all of your elementals into lightning bolts, and he makes it so that all your land cards generate elemental tokens. Very efficient, very powerful. Because one of the few things we can do is, since you're not casting land cards, we'll obviously continue hitting our land drops as frequently as possible once Ruric's in play. And one of the best creature-based board wipes you can get, especially in red, is Balefire Dragon. He's 7 CMC, 5 colorless, red, red for a 6/6 dragon with flying. And whenever Balefire Dragon deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each creature that opponent controls as well. So, potentially a one-sided board wipe. He's going to do real well with cards that grant trample as well. Just a really, really strong card. Of course, we can't forget about Shaman of the Forgotten Ways, really underrated in Commander. If you haven't heard of this card, it's 3 CMC, 2 colorless and a green for a 2/3 human shaman. You can tap him to add 2 mana of any combination of colors to your mana pool, but you can only use that mana to cast creature spells. Well, that's fine, because basically everything we're going to run in this deck is creature spells. He also has a very powerful, formidable ability. It's 9 colorless mana, 2 green, and you have to tap him. Each player's life total becomes the number of creatures he or she has on the battlefield. You can only activate this if the combined power of creatures you control is 8 or greater. So basically, if we have our general in play plus this guy, that's enough to activate the formidable ability. Just a great way to pressure our opponent's life total. Just we're going to be casting creatures all day long, so we should have a pretty good board state, and we'll definitely be left in a better position than our opponents when this finally goes off. Somberwald Sage is absolutely freaking incredible. You should always have one of these in your green-based commander decks. She's 3 CMC, 2 colorless and a green for a 0/1 human druid. You can tap her to add 3 mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. Super awesome, just because we could drop her on turn 2 or 3, and then on turn 3 or 4 we can get Ruric in play and just absolutely shut our opponents down. And I've got a couple utility lands here. Skarg, the Rage Pits, is a land that taps for 1 colorless mana, or you can pay a red and a green, tap it, target creature gets +1/+1, and trample until end of turn. Just an easy way for us to pump up Ruric when he's getting into a battle, or say Balefire Dragon, and give them trample as well, so that they can pressure the life total and get those when they deal combat damage triggers off. I'm just going to put the utility lands off screen because I really don't focus on mana bases on this Typically, mana bases are super flexible based off of your budget. So as long as you count out your color ratios and make sure that it's reflected in your mana base, you should be fine. Myriad Landscape is just great mana ramp, though. Can't underestimate how powerful this card is in Commander. It enters the battlefield tapped, but it does tap for 1 colorless mana. Or you could pay 2 colorless mana, tap it, sacrifice it, search your library for up to 2 base clan cards, and put them onto the battlefield tapped. So what this does is it gets you basically double landfall when you go ahead and do this, and it ramps you up an additional mana. It's also really good mana fixing. All of this on a package that comes into play for free, and you don't even have the ability, or it can't be countered. Very, very strong. Also getting a reprint in Masters 25 will be available in foil for the first time. Kessig Wolf Run is an amazing card, woefully underrated. It's a land card. You can tap it for 1 colorless mana. It doesn't even enter the battlefield tapped. You can tap it for 1 colorless mana, or you can pay X, red, green, tap it, target creature gets +X/+O, and gains trample until end of turn. Just a great way to push through damage, especially late game when people are just top decking. You can go ahead, dump a ton of mana into this, and just force damage through. Can't be countered too. Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, is a great payoff. Oh man, that foil. I don't even know if you can see what it does through that foil. I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. It's a land card that when it enters the battlefield taps, and it taps for 1 red mana, but what we're really running it for is whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, if you control at least 5 other mountains, it deals 3 damage to target player. So, or creature. Oh, that's even better. So what it does is it turns our 6th, 7th, 8th mountain into an uncounterable lightning bolt. That's just straight value. I mean, you may as well get it, especially since you're looking to grind out games by really disrupting your opponent's decks. And getting that additional burn in could be what finishes off our opponents. If for whatever reason they lock us out with, say, a Stasis Snare, Pillow Fort, whatever, getting that direct damage in is often what closes out games. Somberwald Stag, seemingly unassuming, uncommon, from Eldritch Moon, is 5 CMC, 3 colorless, green for a 4/3 elk. When he enters the battlefield, he may fight target creature you don't control, which actually makes him not only a decent-sized body on the battlefield, but he's single target removal. So, you know, twofer. Really versatile card, really good for this deck. Woodland Bellower is 6 CMC, 4 colorless, green for a 6/5 beast. When he enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a non-legendary green creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle your library. I really like this card. It's a tutor in addition to being on a decent-sized body, very exploitable, and you're getting just so much value off of it. It's really solid in this deck. I'm going to put this in card advantage pile. It's not technically getting us more cards in hand, but what it is going to do is it's going to get us additional card selection, making sure we have the right creature to answer our opponents at any given time. Next up, we have Duplicates. 6 mana for an artifact, 2/4 artifact creature with imprint. When he enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-token creature. And as long as the exiled creature So what happens with duplicate? Let me kind of boil this down. As long as a card exiled with duplicate is a creature card, duplicate has the power and toughness and types. I forgot about that. Of the last creature card exiled with duplicate, it's still a shapeshifter. So you hit your opponent's big creature, you get a big creature, but what I love about this is it's creature-based exile removal. Didn't realize it came to the types. I mean, I'm sure I did in the past, but it's been a hot minute. Craterhoof Behemoth is going to be an absolute bomb finisher in this deck. 8 CMC, 5 colorless, green, green, green for a 5/5 beast. He has haste, and when he enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Massive creature-based, beyond overrun effects. Very powerful card. Put that in the kill condition pile. Alright, next up we have Elvish Visionary, 2 CMC, 1 colorless and a green for a 1/1 Elf Shaman that when she enters the battlefield, you draw a card. Just gives a creature on the board and replaces itself. Elvish Mystic is 1 green mana for a 1/1 Elf Druid. You can tap him to add 1 green mana to your mana pool. Straight up, first turn mana dork. Null Mage Shepherd is 4 CMC, 3 colorless and a green for a 2/4 Elf Shaman. You can tap 4 untapped creatures you control to destroy target artifact or enchantment. So I like this because it's repeatable removal for the card types that we really don't want to be dealing with. And we should... it is based off of board state, but we're going to be flooding the board with so many creatures that we should really be able to continuously take advantage of it. Get this out of the way, keep that removal pile going. Primordial Sage is 6 CMC, 4 colorless, green, green for a 4/5 Spirit. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may draw a card. Just giving us a way to replace the creature spells. Every time we cast a spell on our turn, we'll be able to go ahead and replace it, keep that card advantage going. Magazine of the Library is a card I'm debating. It's 2 green mana, green, green for a 1/1 human wizard. You can tap him to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. So he's kind of an overcosted mana dork, but you can also tap him to draw a card. You can only do this though if you have exactly 7 cards in hand. So he's really good to start, and if you can get him out early while you have 7 cards in hand, he actually really keeps you from falling behind on card advantage. Depends on how hard up I am on card draw, but it definitely doesn't hurt. Teetering Peaks, is a card I'm considering. It's a land, it enters the battlefield tapped, it taps for 1 red mana, but when it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Just making Ruric crash in for more damage, or really anything else. Zerta Druid is 1 red, 1 green for a 1/1 human druid. You can tap her to add 1 green mana to your mana pool, and whenever she's tapped for mana, She deals 1 damage to each opponent. Great way to get mana ramp early and start pressuring our opponent's life totals. Seems benign, non-threatening, which is good. That means there's not particularly a target on your back, but you start building your strategy early, which is also really good for this deck. Savage Ventmaw is 6 CMC, 4 colorless, red-green for a 4/4 flying dragon. Whenever he attacks, you can add 3 red and 3 green to your mana pool. Until end of turn, this mana doesn't empty from your mana pool as steps and phases end. So he's a mana doubler. You play this guy for 6 mana, and then next turn you'll have 12 mana. Just straight up value. I mean, that's some pretty powerful mana ramp right there. Comes awful late game though. I don't know. He's very combo centric. We'll see. He's awesome with aggravated assault though, and Hellkite Charger too. Sin Prodder is 3 CMC, 2 colorless, and red for 3/2 devil creature that has menace, and at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library. Any opponent may have you put that card into your graveyard. If a player does, Sin Prodder deals damage to that player equal to the card's converted mana cost. Otherwise, put that card into your hand. So, first things first is this helps filter out your lands. But what it does is it helps us pressure our opponent's life total, and at the same time, it also gets us potential card advantage later in the game. And also getting reprinted in Masters 25 is Magus of the Wheel. It's 3 CMC, 2 colorless and a red for a 3/3 human wizard. You can pay 1 colorless, 1 red, and tap him and sacrifice him. Each player discards his or her hand and draws 7 cards. Just great wheel effect on a creature body so that it won't trigger Ruric's ability on us. Great way to refill our hand if we race ahead and play the whole thing out. Grazing Gladeheart is 3 CMC, 2 colorless and a green for a 2/2 Antelope. That has landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 2 life. Just nice incidental life gain. This is definitely a maybe though, because just strict land life gain cards, just they don't win you the game. Definite maybe. I don't know. It's nice to have some form of life gain in the deck, just so that when we do get Ruric Thar out, we don't have as much pressure on ourselves. Because we are going to run a few non-creature spells. It's not going to be all creatures. Mostly, but not all. Got a few surprises up my sleeve. Hold on. Majestic Miriarch is kind of a win more card that I'm really looking to see how it does in this deck. It's 5 CMC, 4 colorless, and a green for a star Chimera. Majestic Miriarch's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. Okay, so it's dependent on board state, but here's the cool thing. At the beginning of each combat, if you control a creature with flying, Majestic Miriarch gains flying until end of turn. Same is true of First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance. So this guy could potentially be an absolute beastie depending on your board state. This is a deck where we're just going to flood the board, so I'm actually really excited to see what we might be able to do with him. If it turns out to be too much of a dirtle card, I might try him in Animar. So there's still options. Next up, we have Reclamation Sage. Pretty straightforward, 3 CMC, 2 colorless and a green for a 2/1 Elf Shaman. When he enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. So he's a naturalized staple to a body. Can't argue with that. I like Scavenging Ooze. This isn't going to affect the board state as much, but it's 2 CMC, 1 colorless and a green for a 2/2 Ooze. You can pay 1 green mana, exile target card from graveyard. If that card is a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze, and you gain 1 life. But I do like that this disrupts graveyard-based strategies, because there's a ton of them in EDH. It's cheap, it's efficient, and it doesn't interfere with, or it doesn't trigger Ruric Thar on ourselves. Okay, 1 second. Drop my Gyre Sage. I don't know what's going on with me today. I'm mostly over the bug that I had last week. I'm about 95% better, but that 5% is it's still hanging around. I'm a little bit off. Okay, Gyre Sage is 2 CMC, 1 colorless and a green for a 1/2 Elf Druid. She has Evolve, which is whenever creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it has more power or toughness than she currently does, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on her. And then you can tap her to add a green mana to your mana pool for each +1/+1 counter on Gyre Sage. So she's mana wrap that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time. Masked Admirers is 4 CMC, 2 colorless green for a 3/2 Elf Shaman, and when it enters the battlefield, you can draw a card. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may pay 2 green mana. If you do, you can return it from the graveyard to your hand. So this is actually really neat because it's just like Elvish Visionary, only bigger, and if for whatever reason it gets board wiped, just removed, trades in combat, whatever the case may be, then you can, next time you play a creature spell, you can just recur this back into your hand and get another card draw off of it. So that's actually kind of cool. Recurring card draw. Creature-based recurring card draw. That's everything we want for this deck. Next up is another utility land. It's Dryad Arbor. It is 1/1 land creature forest druid. Yep. And it is a creature, so it enters the battlefield summoning sick. And you can tap it for 1 green mana, just like a regular forest. And it's also considered a green creature. So I might actually run this in Animar. This is a way for us to build our board state for no mana, but at the same time, it's very susceptible to board wipes. It's actually best played in conjunction with Green Sun Zenith, because you could pay 1 green mana and 0 towards the X on Green Sun Zenith and ramp this out first turn. Probably run this in Animar. I think I'm going to cut it from this deck. Arlen Cord is 4 CMC, 2 colorless, red-green for a Planeswalker that starts with 3 loyalty. You could +1 her, and until end of turn, target creature gets +2/+2 and gains vigilance and haste. Or you can pay 0, get a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield, and transform Arlen Cord. Let's flip her over. She becomes Arlen, Embraced by the Moon. She has a +1 ability. Creatures you control get +1 and gain trample until end of turn. She has a -1 ability, where she deals 3 damage to target creature or player, and then she transforms back into her previous form. Or she has an ultimate where you can -6 her, and you get an emblem. Creatures you control have the ability to tap and deal damage equal to their power to target creature or player. Actually kind of cool. It turns all your creatures into potential removal on top of everything else. But as for her, I mean, you don't want to run a Planeswalker just for their ultimate. What I really like about her is she pumps up our creatures, makes Ruric Thar just a little bit harder to kill in combat. Ulvenwald Tracker is an absolute slam dunk in this deck. It's 1 green mana for a 1/1 human shaman. It has the ability you can pay 1 colorless and a green, tap him, target creature you control fights another target creature. So he's just repeatable removal on a creature. I absolutely must have in this deck. This is really getting a little out of hand. Ogre Driver is 4 CMC, 2 colorless, red for a 3/3 Ogre Warrior. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Just a haste enabler, and if we dump a bunch of creatures onto the battlefield, they also get +2/+0, so we can be very, very aggressive. I don't know how I feel about this card, but I thought I'd take a look at it. It's Mana Gorger Hydra, 3 CMC, 2 colorless and a green for a 1/1 creature Hydra with trample, and whenever a player casts a spell, you get a +1/+1 counter on Mana Gorger Hydra. So this grows when you cast your own stuff, but it also grows when every other player starts casting stuff. It gets out of hand real fast, and what really makes it work is that trample, making it go tall and still being able to crash over our opponent's defenses. If they don't have an answer for this, this gets out of hand real fast. And Gaia's Herald is great in this deck. 2 CMC, 1 colorless, and a green for a 1/1 elf, and creature spells can't be countered. So this is freaking fantastic, just making it so that everything we play in this deck is basically uncounterable. Acidic Slime is an absolute staple in Commander with good reason. It's 5 CMC for 3 colorless, green for a 2/2 creature Ooze with Death Touch, and Acidic Slime enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. Just really versatile, hits 3 different permanent types, and you get a 2/2 Death Touch blocker. Often a 2 for 1. Hamletback Goliath is 7 CMC, 6 colorless, and a red for a 6/6 giant warrior. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you can put X +1/+1 counters on Hamletback Goliath, where X is that creature's power. So not only is this going to grow every time we play other creatures, but it grows every time an opponent plays other creatures as well. Just like the Mana Gorger Hydra, this gets wild and out of control really fast. Vizier of the Menagerie is 4 CMC, 3 colorless and a green for a 3/4 Naga Cleric. You may look at the top card of your library. You may cast the top card of your library if it's a creature card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast creature spells. So it's the ultimate mana fixing. It's also good card advantage, because what it does is it makes it so that we effectively have another card in hand. We can always look at the top card of our deck. Anything we play off the top card of our deck automatically replaces itself. Next up, we have Ingot Chewer. It's 5 CMC, 4 colorless and a red for 3/3 elemental. And when he enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact. Or you can pay his evoke cost of only 1 red mana. He'll enter the battlefield, you'll get the ETB effect, and then he immediately dies. So 1 red mana, destroy target artifact, also triggers cards like Hamletback Goliath, or Hamlet back Goliath. It's not as easy to say it as you might think. Triggers Champion of Lampholds and Perforos. Oops, I picked up Ruric Thar. Let me put him back so that you guys can always take a look. Alright, and along those same lines, we have Spite Bellows, 6 CMC, 5 colorless, and a red for a 6/1 elemental. When he enters the battlefield, deals 6 damage to target creature. He also has an evoke cost of 1 colorless, red, and a red. Just creature removal on very fragile body, but you can force some damage through. This card I really like for the deck. It's Yeva, Nature's Herald. 4 CMC, 2 colorless green for a 4/4 legendary elf shaman, and she has flash, and she gives all our green creature cards flash as well. Very cool. Because we're mostly playing creatures, most of what we do is going to happen on our turn. This gives us the versatility of being able to respond to things at instant speed. Can't underscore just how important this is in this deck. Did I say underscore? I meant understate. It's a little embarrassing. So those live takes, guys. And Urbarask the Hidden, just reprinted in Iconic Masters, is 5 CMC, 3 colorless, red for a 4/4 legendary Praetor. Creatures you control have haste, and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Not only giving everything you play haste so that you can use it very aggressively, you can also use your mana dorks the turn they come into play, but on top of all that, it protects you from being hit with a massive haste attack. Here's a card I'm thinking about putting in. I haven't really committed myself to it. The value is definitely there. It's 3 CMC, 2 colorless, and a green enchantment. Whenever a creature spell whenever a creature with power 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. So basically everything we play, right, replaces itself. Great card advantage card. It does mimic some of the other card effects we're already playing, and if we draw it once Ruric Thar is out, then we have to debate whether or not it's worth paying 6 life to drop it. It's definitely a maybe, though. I mean, just being able to replace every single card as you play it, that's pretty powerful. Also, going in the utility lands slot is recently banned in Standard Ramanap Ruins. It's desert land, and you can tap it to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, or you can tap it, pay 1 life to add 1 red mana to your mana pool, or lastly, you could pay 2 colorless, red, tap it, sacrifice desert, and it deals 2 damage to each opponent. So just continuing to put pressure on our opponent's life totals. Blighted Woodland is a land. You can tap it for 1 colorless mana, or you can pay 3 colorless and a green, tap it, sacrifice it, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, and put them onto the battlefield tapped. So it's an explosive vegetation that cannot be countered, stapled onto a land. Which, of course, does not trigger Ruric Thar's ability. So it's good mana ramp, and it doesn't tick off our general once we get him going. Along those same lines, we've got Sakura Tribe Elder. 2 CMC, 1 colorless and a green for a 1/1 Snake Shaman. Sacrifice Sakura Tribe Elder, search your library for a basic land card, and put it onto the battlefield. So it's a rampant growth on a creature. We get the edge of the battlefield effect, and it doesn't trigger Ruric Thar. It's all win. Wall of Blossoms is 2 CMC, 1 colorless and a green for a 0/4 plant wall that has Defender, and when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. So it stalls the game, buys you a little bit of time, but at the same time it replaces itself. Just a good value creature. Land of War Elves getting reprinted in Masters 25. And I believe it's actually being reprinted in Dominaria as well. Oh, spoiler alert, if you're looking to avoid those leaks, then it's a little late. It's 1 green mana for a 1/1 Elf Druid. Tap him to add 1 green to your mana pool. First turn mana ramp. Thrashing Brontodon, recently released in Rivals of Ixalan, is 3 CMC, 1 colorless green for a 3/4 creature dinosaur. You can pay 1 colorless, sacrifice Thrashing Brontodon to destroy target artifact or enchantment. So he passes the vanilla test. He's a very efficient body, but at the same time, he's also removal. Just no downside. That's a duplicate. We'll just toss it. All right. Garruk's Horde. 7 CMC, 5 colorless green for a 7/7 beast with trample. You may play with the top card of your library revealed. You may cast the top card of your library if it's creature card. So this, just like Vizier of the Menagerie, effectively adds another card to our hand at all times, but if ever we go ahead and play that card, it automatically replaces itself, just getting a straight value. Of course, it costs 7 mana. 0 only costs 4, but whatever. Soul of the Harvest is 6 CMC, 4 colorless, green for a 6/6 elemental with trample, and whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. That's just really good. Making it so that every time we play a creature, it automatically replaces itself. That's the kind of card advantage we need for this deck. Heartless Hidetsugu is 5 CMC, 3 colorless, red for a 4/3 legendary ogre shaman. You can tap him, and he deals damage equal to each player, equal to half that player's life, rounded down. This guy is Ruric Thar's best friend. All you have to do is tap him once to put so much pressure on an opponent's life total they'll never want to cast a non-creature spell as long as your general's in play. This guy is going to make it so that your general can absolutely take over games. Must have in this strategy. And Garruk's Pack Leader is 5 CMC, 4 colorless, and a green for a 4/4 beast. Whenever a creature with power 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. That's going to be the majority of the cards in our deck, and just replacing itself. Straight value. Duskwatch Recruiter is 2 CMC, 1 colorless and a green for a 2/2 Human Warrior Werewolf. You can pay 2 colorless and a green, look at the top 3 cards of your library, and reveal a creature card from among them, put it into your hand, then put the rest on the bottom of your library. So this guy should basically always hit a creature in this deck. And it's just recurring, repeatable card draw. And then at the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were played on the last turn, you can flip him. And he becomes Kellenhorn Howler. He's a 3/3 werewolf, and creature spells you control cost 1 less to cast. And at the beginning of each upkeep, if a player casts 2 or more spells last turn, transform Kellenhorn Howler. So what this does is it's just straight up mana ramp for us. It's a great card. No matter what side it's on, we win. Either we get ramp, or we get card draw. Either way, we're in a really good position. We're going to put it in the card draw for now, just because that's not super reliable mana ramp. But if we do get it, it's all upside. Soul of New Phyrexia is just a great way for us to survive board wipes. Being a creature-based strategy, we're really worried about board wipes. This is a creature-based way to survive board wipes. It's 6 colorless mana for a 6/6 artifact creature avatar with trample. You can pay 5 colorless mana, permanents you control, gain indestructible until end of turn. You can also pay 5 colorless mana and exile Soul of New Phyrexia from your graveyard to get permanents you control indestructible until end of turn. Just a great way to hold up some mana and make sure that we survive Wrath of God type effects. This is getting a little out of hand. I'm going to clean this up by condensing these piles here real quick. Okay. Let's keep them all in frame, though. What do you think of that? Alright. Duplicate, get rid of it. Growl Signet. We've got so much mana ramp in here already. I'm not sure I want to consider non-creature mana ramp, but it's going to have more resilience than the other cards in our deck. It's less fragile. So, and it's just a classic card. It's 2 colorless mana for an artifact that you can pay 1 colorless mana, tap it, add a red and a green to your mana pool. It's mana ramp, it's color fixing. Because it's not a creature, it would set off Ruric Thar if we get it late game, but it can also get us Ruric Thar earlier more consistently. So, we'll call it a maybe for now. Mana ramp. And here we have Domri Raid. This is our 3rd Planeswalker we're looking at for this deck. So I'm going to have to take a very close look at these being non-creature spells. He's 3 CMC, 1 colorless, red-green for a Planeswalker that starts with 3 loyalty. He has a +1 ability. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. So that's just consistent, repeatable card draw in this deck. He has the -2 ability. Target creature you control fights another target creature. So we could get some removal out of it. And then his ultimate is you get an emblem. Creatures you control have double strike, trample, hexproof, and haste. So, I mean, the dream is to get that ultimate, but we're just going to get basically 4 card draw off of him. And in a pinch, we can use him as a repeatable removal spell as well. Put him in the card draw pile. Here's an emblem. I'll put that in the utility lands pile. I'm going to run the cycling lands just on the off chance that you get mana flooded. Being able to cycle away those extra lands to draw into gas is really important, especially in decks where you're not going to have as much card draw as, say, a blue deck or a black deck. Also, the desert cycling lands will have a positive interaction with our Ramunap Ruins as well. Steel Hellkite is great in this deck. He's 6 CMC for a 5/5 artifact creature dragon. He has flying, and you can pay 2 mana. Steel Hellkite gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Sort of a colorless version of fire breathing. Alright, anyways, the big ability is you can pay X. Destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost of X, whose controller was dealt damage by Steel Hellkite this turn. So, or combat damage specifically. So, what you want to do is attack in with Steel Hellkite. He has flying, so he's a little bit evasive. And say your opponent has a bunch of tokens in play. He's an absolute token monster because you pay 0 mana into his ability, destroy all his 0-cost tokens. That's the dream. More likely, if, say, they have 2 or 3 mana spells that are kind of bothering you, you just pay 3 mana, get the 2 for 1, 3 for 1, whatever the case may be. Really solid removal, though, on a solid attacking body. Ooh, here's a card I really like for this deck. When Volley Beast Tracker is 3 CMC, 1 colorless, green for a 2/1 Human Scout, and when he enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature with Death Touch, Hexproof, Reach, or Trample, and reveal it and put it into your hand. So just a really versatile creature-based tutor. We're going to be running so many creatures in here. Something tells me he's going to be great card selection for this deck. This over here. Karametra's Acolyte is great for this deck. She's 4 CMC, 3 colorless, and a green for a 1/4 Human Druid. You can tap her to add 1 green mana to your mana pool for each of your devotion to green. So the bigger our board state gets, the more mana ramp she gives us. She's actually going to be a really powerful spell in this deck. Flame Tongue Kavu. Classic card from Invasion Block. Looks like it's the plane shift symbol there. It's 4 CMC, 3 colorless, and a red for a 4/2 creature Kavu. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to target creature. So, nice single target removal there on a decent sized body too. Fine attacker. Absolute must-have in this deck is Broodling is it Broodling? It's Brooding Sauron. It's 4 CMC, 2 colorless, green for a 4/4 lizard. At the end of each turn, each player gains control of all non-token permanents he or she owns. So this makes it so that our opponents can't just go ahead and steal all our creatures. Great repeating effects. Happens every single turn. You don't even have to activate it. Skip that one for now. Hellrider's awesome in this strategy. He's 4 CMC, 2 colorless, red for a 3/3 devil with haste, and whenever a creature you control attacks, he deals 1 damage to the defending player. So that's just a great way to turn our board state into repeatable burn as well. Mina and Den Wildboard is... Okay, I kind of want to refer to them as they because it's clearly plural. 4 CMC, 2 colorless, red-green for a 4/4 legendary elf ally. You may play an additional land card on each of your turns. You can pay 1 red and 1 green to return land you control to its owner's hand, and they gain trample until end of turn. So it's a neat way to consistently get landfall every single turn, and on top of that, get the enter the battlefield effects for whatever that land may be. And it's just decent mana ramp. I mean, if for whatever reason you're flooding out, you can just get those lands onto the board sooner than you were supposed to be able to. Harbinger of the Hunt is 5 CMC, 3 colorless, red-green for a 5/3 dragon with flying. You can pay 2 colorless and a red. He deals 1 damage to each creature without flying. You can pay 2 colorless and a green, and he deals 1 damage to each creature with flying. Obviously, you can only do the second ability 3 times before he dies, but it's just a great way to dump your mana in for a very controlled potential board wipe. You decide however much damage you're going to deal to the board so that it's most advantageous to you based off of your board state. Very expensive though. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to run it. We'll see. We shall see. Alright. Thunderfoot Baloth is 6 CMC, 4 colorless, green for a 5/5 beast with trample, and as long as you control your commander, he gives +2/+2 and trample to your entire team. So just a great additional board presence there. Great way to pump up your creatures. Crash in and win the game, you know? Duplicate. And here we have Elder Scale Worm is 7 CMC, 4 colorless, green for a 7/7 worm with trample. When he enters the battlefield, your life total is less than 7, it becomes 7. As long as you have 7 or more life damage that would be dealt, that would reduce your life total to less than 7, reduces it to 7 instead. Basically making it so that as long as he's in play, you can't die. They can't kill you through damage. Spearbreaker Behemoth is absolutely pivotal in this deck. He's 7 CMC, 5 colorless, green for a 5/5 beast. He is indestructible, and you can pay 1 colorless mana to make target creature with 5 or greater power indestructible until end of turn. Great to target Ruric Thar, the Unbowed with, because he has to attack every single turn. So he could potentially be attacking into a situation where, you know, it's not a favorable attack. He could potentially be at risk. That's fine. You just make him indestructible and force your opponents to keep blockers up. And it's creature-based. Not a lot of cards that grant indestructible that are creature-based. Inferno Titan, just straight value. It's 6 CMC, 4 colorless, red for a 6/6 giant. He has fire breathing, and whenever he enters the battlefield or attacks, he deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 creatures and or players. just straight up value, getting to lightning bolt as soon as he hits the board, and then repeatedly lightning bolt every single time he attacks. Really solid card. Perfect for this deck. I'll put him in the removal pile for now, just because he gets to lightning bolt up the board. Vashino Heretic is 3 CMC, 2 colorless and a red for a 1/3 Vashino. You can pay 1 colorless and a red, tap him to destroy target artifact. He deals damage equal to the artifact CMC to its controller. Just repeatable removal. Shatter with upside. Gotta love it. Caustic Caterpillar is 1 green mana for a 1/1 insect. You can pay 1 colorless and a green, sacrifice Caustic Caterpillar, and destroy target artifact or enchantment. 1/1, build up your board state and can be turned into a naturalize in a pinch. Terastodon is 8 mana, 6 colorless, and a 2 green for a 9/9 elephant. When he enters the battlefield, you may destroy up to 3 target permanents. For each permanent, its controller puts a 3/3 green elephant creature token onto the battlefield. So, just straight up value, getting to do a 3-for-1, or you can actually drop this guy, hit 3 of your own permanents, maybe you've got extra land, and drop 18 power and toughness on the board off of 1 card. Very, very strong card. Shaper's Sanctuary is 1 green mana from Ixalan. It's an enchantment, and whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. Because you're going to be playing a ton of creatures, this is just all upside. If any opponent targets it with abilities, removal, etc., you could just go ahead and get that repeatable card draw. Arbor Elf, 1 green mana for a 1/1 Elf Druid. You can tap him to untap target forest. First turn mana ramp. Solid mana dork. Really depends on how many forests you run in your deck. If you're going really deep into non-basic lands, he's going to be less effective. If you're going to be running a lot of basic lands, then he should be fine. A couple more dupes. Dualcaster Mage, 3 CMC, 1 colorless, red for a 2/2 human wizard with flash. When Dualcaster Mage enters the battlefield, copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So a really solid creature-based way for us to either piggyback on our opponent's removal, redirecting a copy to a creature of our choice, or we can counter target's opponent's spell. So really great, really outside of the color pie for us in a lot of ways, and it gets around our all creatures restriction that we're trying to build the deck around. A couple more duplicates. Beastcaller Savant is 2 CMC, 1 colorless and a green for a 1/1 Elf Shaman ally that has haste. You tap him to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell. So that should be a drawback, but in this deck, it's fine. It's just a mana dork that starts tapping for mana as soon as it hits the board. I like it. And it's mana fixing. Really good for this deck. Flame Blast Dragon is 6 CMC, 4 colorless, red for a 5/5 dragon with flying. Whenever he attacks, you may pay X and a red. If you do, he deals X damage to target creature or player. So he's a fireball on a stick. I like it because you can attack in with him, maybe attack an opponent that's wide open, and then fireball somebody who's just sitting there minding their own business. And because it's an ability, it can't be countered through traditional means. Very, very nice, very fun card. Grafted Exoskeleton is particularly potent on Ruric Thar. It's 4 CMC for an artifact equipment with equip cost of 2. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has infect. So that makes it so that if someone gets hit twice by Ruric Thar's ability, then they're out of the game. Very, very potent card in this deck. Pathbreaker Ibex is 6 CMC, 4 colorless, green for a 3/3 goats. Whenever Pathbreaker Ibex attacks, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So it's an overwhelming stampede on a stick. I really like this. It gets around our all creatures restriction, but at the same time rewards us for going wide. Corsair Crewfix is 3 CMC, 1 colorless, green for a 2/4 enchantment creature centaur. You play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play the top card of your library if it's a land card. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. So he's got landfall, life gain, which is nice, and he makes it so that the other half of the deck that isn't creature spells replaces itself as long as we're playing it off the top of our library. Very fun, very good card in this deck. Ranging Raptors is a card I like a lot. I'm not sure it's right for the deck. It's 3 CMC, 2 colorless, and a green for a 2/3 dinosaur. It has the Enrage ability. Whenever it's dealt damage, you may search the library for a basic land card and put it into the battlefield tapped. So he's rampant growth on the stick. Thing is, I don't think I'm going to be dealing that much damage to my own creatures, so maybe he's not quite right for the deck. Probably going to skip this one. I don't know, we'll go through our maker cuts later. Whisper of the Wilds is 2 CMC, 1 colorless, and a green for a 0/2 human shaman. She taps for 1 green mana, or Ferocious, she taps for 2 green mana, but only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. So most of our creatures are actually going to be 4 or greater, so she's fine mana ramp to start, but then she becomes good mana ramp later. Rana, Heir to Keld, is 1 red, 1 green for a 2/2 legendary elf warrior. Whenever Rana, Heir to Keld attacks, you may add 2 red mana to your mana pool, or you can tap her to add 1 green mana to your mana pool. So she's color fixing, she is a powerful mana battery, and she's aggressive. I love how that reflects, the Gruul mentality. So I really like this card for this deck. And here's probably our ultimate finisher in this deck. This is what we're working our way up to, Primal Surge. It's 10 CMC. That's 8 colorless, green for a sorcery. Totally worth taking 6 damage for this, because you exile the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card, you may put it onto the battlefield. If you do, repeat this process. So all your land cards, all your creature cards, you just continuously put them all into play. Boom. And with a haste enabler, you get to attack with all those creatures right away as well. Just friggin' sick in this deck. Absolute must-have. Essence Warden, 1 green mana for a 1/1 elf shaman. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you may gain 1 life. our creatures, our opponent's creatures, just incidental life gain, makes it so that we're less pressured when it comes time that everybody's taking damage from our card effects. Duplicates. Siege Behemoth is 7 CMC, 5 colorless green for a 7/4 beast with hexproof. As long as Siege Behemoth is attacking, each creature you control may have that creature assign combat damage as though it weren't blocked. Just a really solid way for us to push through damage and, once again, pressure our opponent's life total. That's what it's all about. Also, a great way to finish our opponents off. You gotta be able to close out the game, man. That's what it's about. Let's see. See if I got anything else here that I really was considering throwing in. Rampaging Behemoths is kind of along the same lines of Omnath. It's 6 CMC, 4 colorless, green for a 6/6 beast with trample and landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. Turns our lands into creatures, helps us go wide. Green Warden of Marasa is 6 CMC, 4 colorless green for a 5/4 elemental. When it enters the battlefield, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand, and when it dies, you may exile it. If you do, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Kind of a double Eternal Witness for double price. Bellowing Tangleworm is 5 CMC, 3 colorless and a green for 4/4 worm with Intimidate. Other creatures you control have Intimidate. That makes it so that, in his case, he can only be blocked by green creatures. Or artifact creatures, green or artifact creatures. It'll make it so that all our creatures can also only be blocked by green or red creatures based on their color. Really helps us push through damage. I mean, we're going to be dropping all these creatures early. We got to be able to make it so that if our opponent's flooding the board with tokens, they can't just chump block them out. Let's see. Tornado Elemental is 7 mana, 5 colorless, green for a 6/6 elemental. When it enters the battlefield, it does 6 damage to each creature with flying, and you may have it assign combat damage as though it weren't blocked as well. Kind of got that Thorn Elemental ability, or Rock's ability. Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs, is 5 mana, 3 colorless, red for a 5/4 legendary ogre warrior. Whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks, you put a 3/3 red ogre creature token in play unless that player pays 3 colorless mana. So it's kind of a pillow fort card, allows you to create chump blockers whenever an opponent attacks you, or it just taxes them, like propaganda style. And if that 3/3 can block profitably, then it helps grow your board state. Or you don't even have to block with it. Say they attack you with an evasive creature. You just get to crack back at them with another 3/3 on your next turn. Dragon Master Outcast is 1 red mana for a 1/1 human shaman. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 5 or more lands, 6 or more lands, put a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. I don't know about that one. Maybe. I mean, it's a way for us to set something up early, go wide later, but I don't know about that one. Archetype of Endurance is 8 CMC, 6 colorless, green for a 6/5 enchantment creature boar. Creatures you control have hexproof. Creatures your opponents control lose and cannot have hexproof. Just another way for us to protect creatures we put into play. And Ruric Thar. How frustrating would Ruric Thar be if you can't be targeted by spot removal? Yeah. Assault Monolith. I'm super iffy about this card. It doesn't really synergize with anything in the deck. It's 3 colorless mana for an artifact. It doesn't untap during our untap step. You can tap it to add 3 colorless mana to your mana pool, and you can pay 3 to untap Assault Monolith. The reason why I'm considering putting this in here is the turn after we play it, we can force Ruric Thar onto the battlefield. Depends on how aggressively I want to put Ruric Thar out, but if I draw into it once Ruric Thar is already out, then it's just a dead draw. Stonehoof Chieftain is 8 CMC, 7 colorless and a green for an 8/8 Centaur Warrior with Trample and Indestructible. Whenever another creature you control attacks, it gains Trample and Indestructible until end of turn. Really good, working around Ruric Thar's has to attack every single turn ability, giving him Indestructible and Trample to help force through some damage. He plays well with Ruric Thar, but the curve is just so freaking high. Titania, Priest of Argoth. She's 5 CMC, 3 colorless, green for a 5/3 legendary elemental. And when she enters the battlefield, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Whenever a land you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you get a 5/3 green elemental creature token. Plays really well with Omnath. Just really interacts well with our sack lands. Really encourages you to run sack lands, but gets a ton of value for it. Bangalore, 3 CMC, 2 colorless and a green for a 2/2 beast. When he enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact. Artifacts your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. So just removal on a creature body. Also makes it so that our opponent's mana rocks into the battlefield taps, essentially slowing them down. Rogue's Passage is very important for Ruric Thar. It helps us bypass his only drawback. It enters the battlefield, it taps for 1 colorless mana, and you can pay 4 colorless mana, tap it, target creature can't be blocked this turn, making it so that Ruric has no chance of losing in combat, and at the same time, he can continuously force through damage. Solid utility land for the deck. Wood Elves is 3 CMC, 2 colorless and a green for a 1/1 Elf Scout. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a forest card and put it into the battlefield. Doesn't enter the battlefield tapped, which is very, very good. Yeah, just a way for us to rampant growth something into play on a creature body. Prowler's Helm, I really like for this deck. It's 2 colorless mana for an artifact equipment, equip cost of 2, equipped creature can't be blocked except by walls. Great to put on Ruric Thar to help mitigate his only drawback. Treetop Village is another utility land I really like for this deck. It's a man land. It enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap it for 1 green mana, or you can pay 1 colorless and a green, and it becomes a 3/3 ape creature until end of turn. Oh, with trample too. Nice. let's just put the utility lands over here. And Teamer Sabertooth. Probably know this from all of the combo decks, but right now we're just using it for straight up value. It's 4 CMC, 2 colorless, green, for a 4/3 cat. Pay 1 colorless and a green, return another creature you control to its owner's hand, and it gains indestructible until end of turn. This is just a way for us to pay 2 mana and be able to continuously get those enter the battlefield effects on a regular basis. Every single turn cycle. Okay, and that's it for the cards we're looking at. Let's go through what we have here and start the selection process. See what's worth keeping and what we're cutting. Looks like there's still way too many cards. I'm guesstimating there's about 100 cards here, so we're going to have to make some pretty massive cuts. Our goal is to cut this down to at least 61 cards. That way we have room for 38 lands and our general. So let's start with utility lands can stay. It just goes in the 38 land spot. Let's start with our card draw effects. Put that off camera. Alright, card advantage effects. And we will start with the best, which is Duskwatch Recruiter. Absolutely the best option. Our goal is to get this to about 10. I also like Soul of the Harvest and Primordial Sage. Those are solid choices. And while we're at it, you may as well throw in, where is it? Garruk's Pack Leader. Just kind of keeping up with that whole track there. I also really like Vizier of the Menagerie, Masked Admirers, Magus of the Wheel. Then it gets a little bit more tricky because we've got cards like Green Warden of Marasa. He's 6 mana. Yes, he's a double Eternal Witness, but he's 6 mana. Corsair Crewfix is actually really solid. Probably a no-brainer. I want to go in. Sheeper Sanctuary really depends on my opponent to interact with my creatures in the way that I want them to. And even though I'm going to be putting... It's going to be a target-rich environment, right? Like, I'm going to give them all the reasons in the world to trigger it. It's still something that if I draw into it once my commander's in play, it's a dead draw. So I'm probably going to cut that one. Guanvoli Beast Tracker, I have to take a look and see how many of my creatures have Death Touch, Hexproof, Reach, or Trample. Because if I don't have enough targets, then it's just not worth it. Domri Raid, I want to put Domri Raid in the deck, I really do. But if I draw him after my Rurik's in play, he's a dud draw, and he's more often than not, he's just going to be a repeatable card draw effect, and I've got more than enough of those, as it turns out, after all. Let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want to have at least 10, so I'm still looking for 2 more. Same thing goes for Elemental Bond. If I draw it after the fact with Ruric Thar, it could be a dud draw. Sin Prodder, I actually really like Sin Prodder because it helps pressure my opponent's life total, and it's just going to be really solid. Once the deck gets going, it becomes more and more solid over time. So I really like it as a value card draw effect. Looking at Magus of the Library, it's just too situational. I'll cut it. Which Visionary just doesn't do enough. I'll cut it. Wall of Blossoms doesn't do enough. I'll cut it. Woodland Bellower, I really like for this deck. Ruric Thar is just too expensive. I'm trying to bring the curve down a little bit here, so I'm going to cut it for now. May regret that later, but we'll see. So what do I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Just where we want to be on card draw. If we can sneak in a little bit extra after, we'll see. That's just gravy at that point. And then when it comes to removal, we've got Manglehorn. It's just too efficient not to run. Tornado Elemental. It's just being cute, really. I mean, it's fine, but it really brings up our mana curve, so I'm going to set that aside in the probably not pile. Dualcaster Mage is an absolute must, giving us instant speed interaction. Terrastodon is so freaking expensive. I want to run him, I really do, but he's so expensive. Caustic Caterpillar, 1 mana for a creature that I can turn into a Naturalize, can't argue with that. Shino Heretic is 3 mana for Shatter with upside on the deck. Can't argue with that. Inferno Titan is a little bit more expensive, but there's just so much value. Just getting that repeatable lightning bolts, he's too good. Harbinger of the Hunt is just way too mana intensive. Flametongue Kabu is too fragile. And 4 damage really only does so much in Commander, so I'm going to cut Flametongue Kabu. Seal Hellkite's an absolute must, though. Thrashing Brontodon is a must. Spite Bellows, I think I'm going to cut Spite Bellows, because 6 damage is fine. Well, depends on how much creature removal I wind up with in the end. But I think I'm going to cut Spite Bellows for now. Ingot Chewer, though, I really like. It's only 1 red mana to destroy an artifact. Get rid of that first turn Sol Ring. Jerk. Acidic Slime's really good. Ultimate Tracker's a must. Scavenging Ooze, I can just throw this in another pile because it's not really going to affect the board state so much as it's just going to be a general value card. Reclamation Sage. Null Mage Shepherd, I feel like I'm really good on artifacts and enchantment removal, and this is a little bit situational based off of your board state. So I think I'm going to cut this one. Somberwald Stag. If I'm not running Flametongue Kabu, I don't know why I would run Somberwald Stag. It costs more mana, and it potentially dies in the process for basically the same effect. So Flametongue Kabu would go in the deck before Somberwald Stag would. What am I at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Duplicate is exile, creature removal. Balefire Dragon is a potential one-sided board wipe, and Bane of Progress is an absolute must. So, for our potential board wipes, you've got Bane of Progress, Balefire Dragon, Steel Hellkite. It's only 3. It's not a lot to work with. And then for creature removal, I've only got 3, maybe 4 creature removal spells, so that doesn't give me a lot to work with either. And then I have just an absolute ton of artifact and enchantment hate, which I mean you'd expect with green and red to a certain degree. So I think I'm going to have to single that down a little bit and focus more on getting some creature removal into the deck after all. Because in EDH, this is a format where everyone has at least one creature available to them at all times. You have to assume people are playing creatures. So, when it comes to artifacts and enchantment hate, I'm going to cut Ingot Chewer after all, and Caustic Caterpillar, because we have Thrashing Broadston is a reasonable body, so if I don't need it right away, then it'll still do work for me. Acidic Slime is kind of creature removal, and the fact that I get a little rattlesnake off of them. Reclamation Sage and Manglehorn trigger as soon as they enter the battlefield, getting me that immediate value. And Machino Heretic is just repeatable shatter with upside. That additional upside puts it over the top for me, so I'm going to run Machino Heretic. Okay, so what have I got here? I got Duplicate, Almond Wall Tracker, Inferno Titan, Dual Caster Mage, Bane of Progress, Balefire Dragon, Steel Hellkite, Manglehorn, Machino Heretic, Thrashing Broadston, Acidic Slime, and Reclamation Sage. So, what does that put me? 2 over? Considering that this is a aggressive disruption deck, I'm thinking 2 over is fine for now. Once we check the mana curve, I may decide to make some changes, though. We'll see. And then for mana ramp, I've got a lot of spells here. My goal is to have about 10. I'm willing to go a little bit over, though, just for the fact that my goal is to get a 6 mana cost commander onto the battlefield, and I might have to play more than once. So I'm willing to go a little over the top when it comes to mana ramp. First thing I want to make sure absolutely goes in the deck is Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, absolute must. Same thing goes for Shaman of the Forgotten Ways and Somber Walled Sage. Just, they do too much for us not to run them. Zerta Druid is absolutely going into the deck. Score Tribe Elder is a no-brainer. Karametra's Acolyte is too good not to. Beast Caller Savants, perfect for the deck. I'm going to make a point of running Radha, Heir of Held. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'll run Xenagos the Reveler for his massive mana ramp capabilities. Centennial Hierophants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's it for now. Really very heavily considering putting Gyre Sage in, but I'm thinking for now I'm just going to stick with the 10 of them. We'll see how this goes. Scavenge. Okay. First things first, Base of Ith is actually a utility. Well, I don't want it to take up a land slot, so I'm going to put it over here. And because it doesn't tap for mana, I gotta have mana sources. Otherwise I won't be able to play anything. Purphoros is an absolute must-have in this deck.
so is Greater Hoof Behemoth. Without a doubt. Going in. Over Battle Driver is just an absolute beast. If we can hit that off of a Primal Surge, then we basically won the whole game right then and there. Guy's Herald, making it so that all our creatures can't be countered. Yeva, Nature's Herald. Urgrasp, the Hidden. Heartless, Hisugu. Phyrexia. Brooding Sauron. Hellrider. Thunderfoot Baloth. I want to put Elder Scale Worm in here because he makes it so that we're effectively immune to our own commander's trigger. But the curve is going to be so high on this deck as it is. I don't feel comfortable with it. I actually want to put more mana ramp in here because the curve is turning out so high. Spellbreaker Behemoth. Pathbreaker Ibex. Primal Surge. I'm going to put Essence Warden in, even though it's just a life gain spell. You can drop it early, and it can potentially gain you so much life so quickly. I think it's absolutely worthwhile. Alright, let's see. That's actually not a whole ton of cards in the 30 cards that we have for the U-Win pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, which is good. So we can actually put some more removal and mana ramp in here because all our cards are creatures anyways, so they will help us develop our board state and win the game. So Gyre Sage looks like it's going back in. Whisperer of the Woods probably going back in. Somberwald Stag and Flametongue Kabu. Okay, put those guys back in as well. And let's count this out. Let's see how many card slots we have available. So far, I think it's looking very lean, very streamlined. No dud cards in it so far. But I might want to check its mana curve right now just to get an idea if there's a specific drop that we need to address. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 28, 29, 30, 32, 33, 34. Okay, so we've got room for 9 more cards. I'm going to go ahead and do the mana curve for this. We want our curve to peak around the 2 and 3 drop spot. So it tells me we're going to have a ton of 6 drops though. Alright. Six drops are filling up real fast here. First 7 drop, 6 drops. I'm going to put basically everything 7 mana and over in this last pile here. Manglehorn going into 3-drops. Lots going into our 3-drops here. Don't get me wrong, I mean, that's where we wanted to live, is around turn 3, but we definitely have to have plays for before and after that turn. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit better about some of the mana ramp coming in early. But I'm feeling less good about these cards coming in late. Of course, Maze Event is a 0-drop, so just go ahead and set that aside. Okay. So let's take a look at what we got here. Right now we've got 2 1-drops. That's not enough. When it comes to 2-drops, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 2-drops. It's not enough. And 3-drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 on the 3-drops. That's about where we want to live. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on 4-drops. Okay. Alright. We only have 5 5-drops. That's just not good. We can't skip turn 5. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 6-drops. That's obscene. That's way too many. Not to mention, I mean, we have to get our commander in play first thing as soon as we get 6 mana. He's just the cornerstone of this deck. So we need more early drops. We need to cut some 6-drops and maybe get some more mana ramp because it's looking like we're gonna have a pretty high curve deck. When it comes to 6-drops, cards that I might cut, Soul of New Phyrexia is a must. Thunderfoot Behemoth is a must. Pathbreaker Ibex, Seal Hellkite, Bane of Progress, Inferno Titan, Duplicates isn't looking so hot right now. I might want to cut that for some other form of removal. Soul of the New Harvest, Primordial Sage, Woodland Bellower might get cut too. Even then, we're down to, what is that, 8? 8 I might be able to live with, depending on whether or not I can pump up the... I specifically need more 5-drops, and I need more 1 and 2-drops for the deck. So let's see what we got. I feel good about my 3 and 4-drops as long as I have the 1, 2, and 5-drops to make it work. 2-drop, Scavenging Ooze sounds pretty good. 5-drop, Titania Priest of Argoth. Bellowing Tangleworm is also a 5-drop. Okay. And we should have a ton of low drops for our mana ramp. So let's find some 1 and 2-drops. When it comes to 1-drops, we've got all the elves, Elf Mana Dorks. Arbor Elf, Llanowar Elf, Mystic. We can put in Caustic Caterpillar, goes back in. Ingot Chewer has an evoke cost of 1, and For 2 drops, we have Magus of the Library, Elvish Visionary, Wall of Blossoms, and for 1 drop we also have Shaper's Sanctuary. So let's count this out, see where we're at. See, I had to fill 9 card slots, but I'm also taking 2 out, so I've got 11 card slots to work with. And right now I've got 12 cards that I'm considering putting into the deck to round out my curve. Let's do this curve again and see what it looks like. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit more balanced. You know, if you go on YouTube and you watch our previous live deck construction videos, normally the curve just kind of takes care of itself. It's effortless. It's actually kind of exciting for once I have to actually work through this process on camera. So, let's see. All right, so let's take another look at this. We're going to count Ingot Chewer. It's either a 1 or a 5 drop, which is both 2 card slots that we're looking to fill. So I'm liking Ingot Chewer. It's also more removal, especially since I cut one of the removal cards. Caustic Caterpillar turns into removal later in the game. Bellowing Tangleworm just helps us push through damage, helping us pressure our opponent's life total. And Titania is a great value 5 drop. Scavenging Ooze is great disruption, graveyard disruption at only 2 mana. Shaper Sanctuary is potential card draw. If I have to cut any of these, I'm going to cut Shaper Sanctuary. It's still... Look, I realize we're going to be flooding the board with creatures and they could potentially be removed, but god dang, it's still so situational. And if I wind up with a dead card draw with Ruric on the board, it's really going to frustrate me. Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elves, Arbor Elf are good mana ramp. Magus of the Library is fine mana ramp and potential card draw. So, and it fills a 2-drop slot. Elvish Visionary and Wall of Blossoms just replace themselves, help build up board state, and replace themselves. And don't want to repeat myself. Help fill up the 2-drop spot. Although I feel better about these if we're running Temur Sabertooth, allowing me to draw them back into my hand and then recast them for their enter the battlefield card draw effect over and over. So I might consider running Temur Sabertooth in the 4-drop spot. Just really exploiting that into the battlefield effects. Let's count this out. I think I'm 1 or 2 cards over. So let's see. Right now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 1-drops. That's a good healthy chunk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 2-drops. I like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 3-drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 4-drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 5-drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 6-drops. And 5, I don't know, 8 6-drops, and then 4 7 mana and up spells. So I'm really living on that 6 mana spot, but I really don't feel that I can cut any of these 6 mana spells. They're just too important to the way the deck functions. When it comes to 4-drops, Xenagos, the Reveler, is one that I'm going to cut. He doesn't fit with our all creature theme that I'm trying to push here. So he's getting the axe. Because I have too many 4-drops. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 4-drops. How many 3-drops do I have? Alright. Alright, let's count this out. See if I'm running too much or too little. I'm going to keep it in order so that if I need to nix something from my 4 or 6 drops specifically, I can easily pull those up. Let's see, we got Alright, I have one too many cards in here. I have to cut one card. First thing I think of is Arbor Elf, just for the fact that I'm going to be running a lot. I think I'm going to be running a lot of non-basic in the deck, so being able to... Oh, hey, what did I do to my camera here? Yikes. Okay. So being able to consistently drop a forest seems unlikely to me. Yeah, I'll just cut the Arbor Elf and go from there. I feel pretty good about this deck. Did I wind up going all creatures and Primal Search? Let's see. Primal Search, creature. I'll tell you when I don't hit a creature. Or I hit a non-creature specifically. Alright, so it is all creatures and lands except for Primal Surge. We've got the Haste Enablers and Hellrider, so that we can dump our entire deck on the battlefield and attack all in one turn. And even if, for whatever reason, they stop us from attacking them directly, we can go ahead and just burn them out with Hellrider. So, really explosive potential in this deck. I'm going to very much enjoy pressuring my opponent and locking them out. Alright, so that is our Ruric Thar live deck building exercise. Check us out on YouTube. We've got completed deck text. Once I've had a chance to sleeve this up, playtest it for a while, I will post a deck tag for this as well. Look for Ruric Thar and many of these other cards being reprinted in Masters 25. If you're looking at us on YouTube, check out our affiliate link. We have an Amazon affiliate store. Any purchases you make after clicking on that link, a small percentage comes back to help the channel. And of course, if you enjoyed this content, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. This has been Metagame Mastery. Peace!